Hey everybody, welcome back to the shop. So I hear tell of a contest put out by Rockler, and this video is all about fun for everybody. So this contest is called the Rockler 2x4 Challenge. The concept is pretty simple. 3 2x4s, 3 projects, timed projects. You get a half an hour for the first project, 2 hours for the next project, and a day to complete the last project. I'm going to see what I can come up with, and I'm going to put an entry into this little contest, and we'll see if the Hinkle shop can come up with anything. So let's have fun, and let's get started. Ready, set, go. We're going to start with a 2x4 that I pulled out of an old pallet. So I'm not even buying new stuff. A pencil laying there, and I just wasted time grabbing another one. UP10. There ain't no way I'm waiting for that glue to dry. Like that. Oh, forgot a pencil.
Time's a wasting.
Ooh. Ow, that drill's hot. Oh, you know I'm using the mill. 6 minutes. Almost made a mistake and didn't screw this down. Rapido, rapido. speed. That was not sped up.
And as you can see, this isn't sped up one bit either. I really truly do work this fast. And if you believe that, I've got a bridge out in the Midwest I'd like to sell you. But look at the lightning speed here sanding. If only it really could be accomplished that quickly.
Time!
16 minutes, 17 seconds.
You didn't think I was going to drink alcohol, did you? Nothing but the best. Purified water for me. "17 minutes. Project 1, shot glass flight. Let's get on to number 2. Is that recording us talking?
Yeah.
That's good. Waiting for the air conditioner. Should have turned it down a little sooner.
Perfect. Batter up. There you go. Ooh.
That's what you do when you play baseball like this. So you get warmed up. There it goes. Alright everybody, that was a lot of fun. We knocked that out in just over 16 minutes. Let's make a little theme here. We got this part for, say, a get-together or a picnic or something. Let's move on to project number 2. We're going to try and make ourselves a serving tray that I can put this into, and we'll proceed from there. That was a lot of fun. Let's keep going.
Alright, here we go. Let's start the timer. Reset. And rock and roll. I'm going to begin by whacking this 2x4 down. Now all these 2x4s I got, I didn't go to the box store and get them. I repurposed them from crates that I got at work. So they got some nail holes in them and they're knotty, and it makes it a challenge to work with them. But let's add to the challenge complexity as it is. So here we're going to slice these down into 3/4 inch wide boards, planks. Remember not to trim your thumbnail off when you're using your bandsaw. Going to run them through the jointer to get a flat edge so we can make a panel out of them. These guys are going to get turned into the bottom. We're going to slice off for thickness, or width I should say. Tray width is 12 inches. 4 times 3 is 12. As you can see, I carefully place wood behind me. And it's off to the races. Now we're going to make a panel here. We're using yellow goop and CA glue because we don't have the time to wait for the yellow goop to hold. Use massive amounts of clamping pressure there generated by my forearms. I did 2 outside and then 1 center. Just easier to control that way. instead of trying to squeeze all 4 at once. Little activator and away we go. 8 minutes 35 seconds is where we're at right now. Going to elevate this so I can drill some holes in it and not punch those holes directly into the wasteboard unnecessarily. I've come to learn that those screws holding your project down on your wasteboard is much better than just about any other clamping system out there. Yes, you'll have to replace your wasteboard more often, but at least I know my projects don't move and I know they're flat. We've got the origin in the center of this project. We're going to use paper to determine the Z height. Put in my Pawn CNC dust boot, and here we go. Now the beauty of the CNC is I can be doing other things while that's running. And here we're going to start sizing up the pieces for the handles and the sideboard rails. That piece you see on the left there was left over. That piece I did not use. I didn't need it. These are the handles. We're creating a flat on them, cutting them to width. Here I'm using a 1-2-3 block to give me a 1-inch raise off of there. Using a T-bevel here to determine the angle of the handle, or the top bridge of the handle. Tape measure divides the board in half, square puts a line. That's where the top of the hole needs to be, at 1/2 of an inch. We're spacing the edge of the hole out at 6 inches. Bottom of the hole should be where they line up, and an awl to start the drill bit. Bosner bit on the drill press. And as I like to say, Walla Walla, Washington, we got a couple of holes made. Oop. Alright, now we have to open up between the center of those holes. This is a poor camera angle. First we're going to cut the angle off for the bridge of the handle. Both sides. And now we'll cut the center portion out to create the hole for the handle. Like so. That creates a notch or a saw curve there. We'll glue that back together when we get finished making the shape here. Slicing them in half, and we now have 2. Bing, bang, boom. There's our handles. And as I said, we'll glue these back together with some CA glue. I'll just hold them apart. Let the CA glue run down inside the crack. A little activator, and we'll squeeze it together, and it'll be good as new. Or good as old in the case of these old 2x4s. And me. There was a nail in the top of that one. I had to dig that out before I got onto it with the router here. We're using a round over on all edges. Starting to look like something. Little sanding to take the slivers off. I could use my hands to take the slivers out, but that's not as much fun. 32 minutes in. Under 1 minute to go on the carve. Not too shabby. And here we have all the components we need to make this tray, including the bottom. Gently push your material out of the way to make room. Check the clock, 37 minutes. Let's get out some fire. That's what this thing needs. Should hook up an air compressor. I do this with every project. Just a little too stubborn, I guess, to listen to the air compressor run. It's incredible what that torch will do to a piece of wood to embellish your carves. Be careful not to burn your phone. That'd be a bad day. I'm going to leave the center around that bird as a highlight, unburned. I think that looks pretty sharp. Still hot. Look out. Alright, now we're going to figure out how we're going to lay these handles out. Obviously they're going to go on the ends like this. And I want pilot holes in those handles for these screws. So a trick I've learned along the way is to drill through the base, which I'm going to show you here in a minute once I continue to dig through my drawer. Couldn't find a bit for those screws. Alright, lucky enough to have a couple of different drill bits, or drills I should say, so I don't have to keep switching back and forth. We'll drill the pilot here. Then we'll take two screws and put one on each end of those holes that I've drilled in a line. The screws will stick through the surface, and we'll use them as pinpoints with the handle, as you'll see here in just a moment. Flip the board over. Make sure the pins are sticking through. Put the handle on the top and position it where you'd like it, and squeeze briskly, and it'll give you 2 points where you can start, or you can actually use as a center for your drill to drill your pilot hole. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Little yellow goop. Finger. The best thing to spread glue with. Wipe it on your table. Then your pant legs, on your shirt, in your hair. Whatever you have to do to get that glue off your fingers. Squeeze it together so it doesn't move and run the screws home. Second verse, same as the first. And we have handles on a tray. Now for the sideboards. Again, wiping the glue off on anything you can possibly find. Checking the measurement. Realizing probably the easier way is to just hold the board up there and mark it off, but we'll do it the hard way with the ruler. A little snug. Trim it for height. Pilot holes again in the side rails. Remembering that it was too snug. And like a glove. Alright, second verse, same as the first. Yellow goop, put some screws in it, and it'll be held stick fast in a hurry. 50 minutes is where we're at now. 50 minutes on a 2-hour project. That's one of the handiest tools I've purchased in a long time, that battery-operated nail gun. There's a screw or a nail.
That would have hurt the old router.
Again, we'll round over all edges. Then when it comes time to sanding, we'll smooth even more, making the two ends blend in between the handles and the sidewalls. And lots of sanding. "58 minutes. It's a pretty sharp looking tray. And of course we can't get away without some hand sanding. Everybody loves hand sanding.
Well, I guess I could sand for another hour, but I think you get the picture. Serving tray. Let's call it 1 hour. Not too shabby. I'll probably spend another 20 or 30 minutes standing on this stuff to make it smooth, but that's number 2. Let's go on to number 3. Let's keep moving.
Hi, boy. We did it. We did it. Hey, boy, we did it. You see this thing? We did it.
You're a good helper.
You're a good helper. Yeah. Look, put your dog food in here. Come on.
The boss is here.
Hey, no.
So you're yelling and hollering at capers?
Oh, wow. That's good. Hi, guys. Ow.
And she disappeared.
All right, let's begin number 3 here. In case anybody doesn't believe me, we're going to start with 1 and end with 1 8-foot 2x4. And I didn't have nothing but slivers left when I got finished. We're going to start this at 9:23 in North Kakalaki. That's AM. All right, here we go. Slicing off pieces to 3/8 of an inch thick. That'll create the panels we need. That bandsaw, as I've said before, is one of the greatest assets of my shop right now. Trimming to width. Yellow goop, some CA glue. Basically the same process we did with the tray in the previous project. Only here I'm not going to squeeze these together, I'm going to use some clamps. And we're going to do this all in one shot here. I wasn't too certain that that CA glue over that yellow stuff was going to work, so I got out the ultra thin and spread that over every seam, and you can see the smoke there. And we hit it with some activator. Now here we're going to start slicing these pieces up. These are 1/4 of an inch thick. And these are going to be the uprights that the webbing will be weaved through or woven through. Now we need to cut these all down to 1/4 inch chopsticks. And man, did we have a bunch of them when we were finished. Now here I'm ciphering and figuring out how I'm going to hold these things up and how far apart I want them. I decided on 2 inches or 2-inch spacing. And I thought, if I elevate these off of the table with this unistrut, I can actually hold these 2x3 blocks, 1, 2, 3 blocks in place and use them similarly to a box joint jig, and I can hopscotch the board or the panel down the top of the unistruts and get the spacing exactly right and know that the pieces were 90 degrees straight up and down. And as you can see here, we add just a dab of CA glue, a spritz of activator, and we hopscotch down the board. Easy peasy, just like this. Next stick, hopscotch some more. Next stick, hopscotch some more, and we continued this process all the way around the panel to create the bottom and the sides. There I added a little CA glue to the bottom side and some activator, and we have the beginnings of a mini pole barn. Two sides finished. Time to do the end. We did the same thing there. I started on each side and worked in, and then just whatever the center gap was, I split the difference and put one more peg in the middle. Here we see slicing for the webbing itself. These webs are less than a 1/16 of an inch thick. Again, this bandsaw, I cannot say enough good things about this thing. You would never pull that off with the old Craftsman sitting next to it. Wow, springy, springy. Lots of straps. Let's weave them through. In and out, and all of a sudden this thing starts to take on the look of a basket. Slowly making progress. And of course there was knots right in the center of those little webs, so they wanted to split and break. And I came up with a solution for that on the ends here. I just beat them to the punch, and I broke them on purpose, and then laminated them back together with some CA glue over top of the knots to make them stronger. Instant fix. I didn't have to worry about them breaking there on the knots any further. Now we've got the webs done. Now we need to cut the tops of the poles off on the pole barn. A little more CA glue as insurance. And a whole bunch of clamps. Now I will say that bottle was over half full when I started this project, and it was under empty when I finished. There was basically bubbles coming out of that bottle. When I was squeezing near the end, I was thinking, man, I'm going to run out and not be able to finish this, but we made it. We got through it. And I wanted to write Hinkle on every one of those clamp handles, but I did the first one and realized that's kind of silly. There's a lot of clamps. I bought 24 of those off the Jungle Store to do this project, and we're now at 140 from starting at 9:24 this morning. Here I was running short on wood for the handles, so I did the same trick and laminated them together. This is supports for the handles, because there's no way that 3/8 is going to hold that bolt that I'm using as a hinge. We snugged these up until they were just loose enough for the handles to pivot. Doing the second one here. I had intentions of putting a piece of 3/8 copper as a bushing, and I didn't find the copper, so we had to just leave those straight. Now here, I needed to laminate 2 more pieces to create the crossbars. The first one I had, the second one I had to laminate. That's how close we were getting with the wood here. A little pressure. 10 seconds later, we now have 2 sticks that we can put across here.
Okay, so this has got me a little stumped. I want these 2 handles to come together so you can carry this thing. They need to come together like so. I think one of these has to be shorter than the other, but I'm not too much on picnic baskets, Yogi. I'll figure it out.
So what I ended up doing was figuring that if I just sliced them off at an angle where they came together on each side, eventually those sticks would touch each other, and it worked pretty good. I should paint that tool yellow and black because it sounds like an angry bumblebee.
Getting closer. If we take a little more off of that, I think it'll work good.
Looking good. So here's another little trick for you. When you're dealing with these little bitty little bitty hinges, take a little dab of CA glue and stick the hinge in place. Then run your drill. Don't glue your hand to the hinge though.
A latch will take care of that and warp it back into position. I almost think these guys could do that. That would work good too. Get some sanding on this thing and we'll be good to go. Oh, I forgot. 312. You get the idea? Alright everybody, there you have it. My entry in the Rockler 2x4 challenge. 3 projects, 3 2x4s. Last project, I hope you can see that, it says 342. I don't know if that's in focus or out of focus, but I hope you got something out of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I sure did. It was a lot of fun and a big challenge making these things, but I really think they were really cool to make. Thank you, Rockler, for letting us do this. Oh, one more thing. There's a little secret here. Let me just show you one more little added tidbit. This guy, kind of snug, but he fits in there. And this guy, he fits in there. And how about that now? Alright everybody, hope you enjoyed it. Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And as always, I'll catch you on the next one.